If we're being honest with ourselves, too many men today are really just roommates wearing rings, if you know what I'm talking about. You see, you might share a house, share a calendar, maybe even a bed, but not connection, not passion, not purpose. But the good news, you can change all that faster than you think. And if you felt any of those things, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to turn it all around in today's episode. So grab a pen and let's dig in. Welcome to the Dad Nation podcast, the place where high-performing men are empowered to reclaim their home, their health, and their happiness while enhancing their career success. You see, in a world full of noise, burnout, and mediocrity, we believe what's missing is courageous and compassionate leadership in the home, because when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. You see, this isn't just a podcast. It's a movement of men who refuse to settle for less in our families, our focus, and our future. We are curse breakers and we are legacy makers. And I'm your host, Mitchell Osman, and I'm honored that you have chosen to invest your most valuable asset, which is your time with me today. Now let's get into it. Welcome, friend. Welcome to today's episode that I am so excited to get into with you, something I'm really passionate about. But before we jump in, I just got to apologize, man. Me and my wife have been going through some mad virus, some apocalyptic style. It's just been savage, and we're just coming out of the week of chaos that it was. So I apologize for my voice. It's hoarse. I may be coughing, but here we are. This is real life, and you know what? I got to get the good stuff to you. So here I am recording it for you because this is a message that I think is so important for us to hear today, and it's important we talk about it because this is a topic that I hear so many men so confused about. And when I talk to other women, they also are just confused about where all the men are at. And so there is generally just a lack of understanding of how a man should show up in a relationship, what is attractive to women. And we know, I see it all the time, that desire dies in marriages, and we start on this slow drift into, from soulmates to roommates. So this is something I see often. So today's episode, we're going to unpack all this and why this happens and how to recover it. Make sense? Okay. So I'm going to start with this. If you were a man listening today, and you are confused as to what a woman really wants, I'll say this right off the get-go. Every woman that I've ever met, heard from, or talked to wants a man who leads with clarity. She wants a man who knows what he wants, who can make a decision, and moves with purpose. Not the guy who hesitates, who second-guesses, or waits until things fall apart before doing something about it. But the reality is this. Indecision is usually what kills intimacy. It's a big factor in this. And now I know that might sting a bit, but brother, the kind of man your wife fell in love with wasn't passive. He had direction. He had fire. He had a strong sense of why. But somewhere along the line, the clarity got buried under bills, busy schedules, and survival mode. And maybe you're listening to me say all this today and you're telling yourself, or you've told yourself in the past, we're fine, right? We're not fighting constantly. Maybe the bar is pretty low. Or maybe you're on the opposite side of the pendulum and you're thinking we're too far gone. Something like a podcast episode is not going to help, right? Or maybe you're already telling yourself, I've tried all the stuff before and nothing works. I get it, right? But what if those things you're telling yourself right now aren't truths? What if they're just defense mechanisms to protect you from disappointment? Because here's what I've learned from working with so many men, is that most marriages don't end in explosions. They end in erosions. They don't end because of some big betrayal or abuse, but because two good people stopped being intentional. They eroded. They drifted. They coasted. And when you coast, you lose connection. If you're a long-time listener, you would have heard me quote this, but in the U.S. today, 80% of the reason cited for divorces is not cheating, it's not abuse, it's not fighting, it's not money. You know what it is? It's emotional disconnection.
70% of all divorces in the U.S. today are initiated by women. And that's what I'm talking about. Of those divorces, 80% of the time, that's the reason, emotional disconnection. It's drifting. And you drift and you drift and you drift, and you're not intentional until you wake up one day and you're just roommates wearing rings. So let me make you a little bit uncomfortable and hold up the mirror for a moment. And I'm asking myself these questions as well. When was the last time you did something bold for your wife? Not because it was Valentine's Day or an anniversary, that's expected, but because you wanted to remind her that she's still chosen. When was the last time you think she looked at you and thought, dang, that's my man? You see, every woman wants to feel pursued, but what most men seem to forget is that pursuit isn't just flowers or date nights. It's actually direction. It's leadership. It's energy that says, I know where we're going. You can trust me. Because women are magnetically drawn to a man who carries certainty, not arrogance. All right, there's a big difference. I'm talking about certainty. A man who says, this is what I want for our marriage, for our family, and I'm willing to go first. I'm willing to show up powerfully for us. I'm willing to protect us, to provide for us, to preside for us, to serve us, to see that vision come to fruition. And maybe you're here, you're listening to me and you're thinking, Mitchell, you don't get my situation. She's distant. She's checked out. We barely even talk. And friend, if that's you today, listen, I've sat across from men whose wives were sleeping in another room. I've helped men whose wives have already left with the kids. Men who have called me as they sat alone in their home while their wife and kids were renting an apartment. And I've watched them turn it all around. Not because they found some magic trick, but because they decided to become the kind of man that she could trust again. But here's the catch. Trust isn't rebuilt through words, right? If it was, you could say the right combination of words and everything would be perfect again. The challenge is trust is rebuilt through consistency. Day after day after day. And that starts when you stop waiting for her to change and you take ownership of your part and start changing the environment you are both living in. And maybe money's tight or time feels impossible. I get that too. But listen, the truth is this isn't about time or money. It's about priority. You see, you find the time for what matters most. And you spend the money on what you believe is worth it. The problem is most men don't make that decision until it's almost too late. I see it every single day. I've had situations where I jump on calls with guys to talk where their wives are checked out. Maybe they've moved out. And we start having a conversation on what it's going to look like to work together. And the moment I start mentioning that it's a 4-figure investment, the brakes get put on. Whoa, I can't afford that. Well, what's more affordable, man? A few $1,000s or divorce? I mean, you get to choose. We know the average divorce in the United States today costs at least $15,000, not to mention losing half of your net worth. Realistically, that could be, $500 grand, $1 million? What is it? And we haven't even begun to talk about the emotional toll it takes on you and your ex-wife and the damage that is done to your children of now being raised in a broken home. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you can't repay. So at the end of the day, this isn't about money. This is about your willingness to commitment. So at the end of the day, this isn't about time and money because like I said, you make time, you create money for the things that matter the most. It's about your level of commitment. How bad do you want this? And here's something that you can chew on today. Doing nothing is still a decision. Make no mistake, brother, every week you stay stuck, resentment builds another brick in the wall between you and your wife. And those bricks don't come down easily. Waiting until it's urgent is what costs most men everything. You can act from inspiration or you can act out of desperation. But either way, you will act. The difference is whether you do it while there's still time to rewrite the story. So enough talking about the doom and gloom and all the consequences. I want to cast a vision. I want to paint a picture of the man that every woman wants. And this is the man that you were designed to be. This is the man that you were called to be.
Hey, can I ask you something real quick? If this show has helped you out in any way, if you've gotten any value, clarity, or even just one gut check moment that's made you a better man, husband, or father, would you take 60 seconds and leave us an honest rating or review? And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a drop. And if you really want to pay it forward, share this episode with a friend. Why? Because we know that there are millions of men out there silently struggling in their marriage, in their health, and in their mindset. Men who maybe were where you were just a few steps ago, feeling tired, stuck, and searching for answers. Finding this podcast might be the thing that changes everything for them. So thank you for being part of this movement and for helping more men become the husbands and fathers their families so desperately need. Now let's get back to the show.
I want to cast a vision. I want to paint a picture of the man that every woman wants. And this is the man that you were designed to be. This is the man that you were called to be. Number one, he's decisive. He doesn't stall. He knows what he wants, and he goes for it. Number two, he's calm under pressure. Number three, he doesn't avoid hard conversations. He initiates them. Number four, he leads with vision because he knows what kind of marriage he's building, and he moves toward it daily, continuously inviting his wife into that conversation, serving one another to live out this beautiful vision, this shared vision that they have for their relationship. Number five, he's playful, he's present, and he's passionate. Number six, he doesn't chase her validation, he earns her admiration. Whoa, y'all, I got to say that one again. He doesn't chase her validation, he earns her admiration. And when he walks in the room, his wife doesn't roll her eyes. She feels safe, she feels seen, and she feels proud to say that she's his wife. That's the man I want for you. That's who I want you to become. That's the man your family needs. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. How to move from roommate energy to romantic leadership, starting right now. Because I'm thinking there's a high probability that you're listening today and maybe you feel like you and your wife are just roommates, right? Like the spark is gone, or maybe you're stuck in a cycle of busyness, frustration, distance. And you see, it's not that you don't love her. You do love her, but it's like your ship's passing in the night. Your conversations revolve around kids, work, the bills, not dreams, not laughter, not desire. And deep down, you're wondering, is this really what marriage is supposed to feel like? Now, how do I know that you might have been feeling that way? It's because I've been there. You see, 3 years into my marriage, I felt like a stranger in my own home. Peace felt like it was far from a possibility, let alone any kind of connection. You see, we'd sit on opposite sides of the couch, both exhausted, both distracted. And I was thriving at work, but I was failing at home. And honestly, I didn't know how to talk about it. Because as men, no one teaches us how to handle that middle ground. Right? They don't teach that when you get your MBA. That quiet disconnection that slowly erodes love. You can't learn that. You're not taught that in school. You're not taught how to A/B test, physical intimacy. And so if you're like me, you start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't she look at me like she used to? Or worse, maybe this is just how marriage goes after a while. But brother, that's the lie that keeps most men stuck. Because marriage isn't meant to be endured, it's meant to evolve. And evolution starts with ownership. You see, the cost of doing nothing, it's not always divorce papers. Sometimes it's just the slow drift, like we talked about. Sometimes it's a home that feels cold and emotionally sterile, not warm like it used to. It's a wife who's emotionally checked out. It's kids who grow up watching two adults share a house but not a home. And I say this with love, but if nothing changes, it's not going to magically get better. You see, busyness won't fix it. Random grand gestures won't fix it. Vacations won't fix it. The right combinations of words won't fix it. Time won't fix it. Leadership will. Now let me inject some hope into this situation, because I remember the day everything shifted for me. And if you've been hanging around in my circle for a while, you've heard this story, but I was sitting at the funeral of this wealthy philanthropist, and I was asked to sing at it, and I was sitting side stage, and I was pissed off. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was embarrassed that I couldn't seem to get my own life right, and I had to sit and listen to all the great things this man had done. You see, I was frustrated because I was the guy who could solve complex problems at work. I could inspire people, cast vision, build teams. There was no problem I couldn't solve, but I couldn't solve us. And that was the one problem that plagued me at night. And then the minister got up at the end of the funeral and he ended his address with one question that flipped the script entirely for me. He asked the people in the room, there were about 2,000 people in the room, he said, "Are you living a life worthy of imitation. If you were to die today, would you be proud of the legacy that you left? Friend, that question hit me like a freight train, because the truth was I wasn't. The truth was that at that point, no one would have wanted the life that I was living. Nobody would have said, he inspired me to have a great marriage. He inspired me to get my finances in order. He inspired me to be in better shape. No one would have said that. They probably would have said, yeah, man, he had a hard life and then it was over. At that point in my life, man, it was a dark season. So that day I made a bold decision that I was going to take ownership of it all, every single area of my life. But specifically with my wife, I decided that I was going to rebuild my marriage, not by demanding change from her, but by becoming the man I was called to be. And what happened next wasn't magic. It was intentional. I started leading again. I started pursuing again. I started showing up differently, and slowly everything changed. My wife softened. Our laughter came back. Our passion returned. Not because we talked about it endlessly, but because I changed how I showed up. And that's when I realized men don't necessarily need therapy to fix their marriage. They need tools. They need direction. They need community. They need accountability to lead it. And after all that learning, it took me 7 years to figure all that out. I've taken it all and I've created something that I call the Date Your Wife Challenge. It's a 5-day live experience where I walk men just like you through the exact steps I use to rebuild my marriage. It's practical, it's simple, and it works. It worked for me. It works for my clients. It's going to work for you. It's a fast track to success. Every single day in this challenge, we tackle one key area that reignites connection, respect, and attraction. Okay, here's how it works. Number 1, we stop the roommate rut. So you're going to learn how to reset the dynamic and plan unforgettable date nights that will light the spark again. Day number 2 in the challenge, we learn her needs. You're going to uncover the 3 core needs that every woman has and how to meet them in ways that make her desire you again. Day 3, we're going to build emotional connection, which is huge, huge for our wives. I'm going to teach you how to move from surface level conversations to soul level connection through the art of conversation. Day number 4, we're going to master conflict. You're going to discover how to navigate tension without blowing up or shutting down, virtually cutting your conflict in half. Going to teach you how to communicate calmly through conflict. And day number 5, we're going to lock in the gains. You're going to walk away with a plan to keep the fire alive long term. And the best part, you're going to be surrounded by 49 other men walking the same path, men who are choosing to lead instead of coast. So as we wrap this up today, here's my challenge to you, friend. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, because there is no such thing. Stop hoping for things to magically improve, because they won't. Decide that your marriage matters enough to do something about it. And in just 5 days, you can light a fire that leads to a completely different trajectory that will literally change the direction you and your family are headed in. You see, you can rebuild respect, reignite attraction, and restore connection in 5 days for less than the cost of a date night out. Brother, it's time to lead again. Now, I'll tell you what, the next one starts next week, okay? 7 days from the airing of this episode, November 3rd, 2025. And if you're ready to take that step and join me and the other men, I want you to go to dateyourwifechallenge.com and grab your ticket before they're all sold out. Spots are limited. I'm intentionally keeping this small because I want to keep the quality high, okay? Like I said, the round starts on Monday, and we go from Monday to Friday, one powerful session each day. Listen, brother, don't wait until it's urgent. Decide while there's still time to choose. Because the man your wife fell in love with is still in there. It's just time to bring him back out. And for those of you who are listening and you might be ready to go even deeper, I've opened up a special option, okay? It's called the VIP experience that includes live coaching calls with me, right? An additional session each day, 2 times as much as the general admission, lifetime access to all the replays, and a private community of high-level men who are committed to becoming high-performance husbands. So if that's you, don't hesitate. Okay, this is your chance to lead boldly to not just win at work, but to win at home as well. Listen, friend, you can keep living as a man who settles, or you can step into being a man who leads. And the thing is I can't make that decision for you. Only you can do that. Your wife can't do it. Your kids can't do it. And every decision after that, I'm with you the whole way. But you have to take this first one. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Just decide, right? Because every great marriage begins with one moment of courage. And maybe this is yours. I'll see you on the inside of the challenge, brother. Let's make this week the week that you take your marriage back. All right, that's all from me, my friend. As always, I'm in your corner. See you next week.
Thank you for tuning into the Dad Nation podcast today. Listen, if today's conversation challenged you, if it encouraged you or helped you level up in any area of your life, would you do me a favor? Take 60 seconds to rate and review the show on whatever platform you're listening on. This helps us reach more men who need to hear this message. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Dad Nation YouTube channel, where you're going to find full episodes, clips, and exclusive content designed to help you win at home just like you do at work. All right, remember, your family does not need perfection. They need your presence. Your leadership matters. So keep showing up, keep leveling up, and never forget, when the dad gets better, the whole family wins. We'll see you next time.